Daylight
My
here.
watch actually says 6:30, so I'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. Thanks for being here tonight. And we're going to start off again with Tell Me Something Good. So, Mr. Hughes, why don't you go first, since you're rushing me along?
I had 2 days with the grandbabies, and I'm here tonight. I'm good. Everything's good.
Perfect. We'll just go around the table.
So my something good this week is something that I saw on social media from Lawrence Middle School from a student named Colby. And he has a motto that says, being good is something you can't get tired of. And that really, really resonated with me. And I think that that's something that all teachers and students and parents can really look to have, words of wisdom by this student.
I like
Good.
that. You're
Yeah.
setting the bar high. Now you're like thinking about your something.
For me, just being here tonight and have the presence of the Lord.
All right, I'll share. This weekend we had a children's musical at church, and they did a fabulous job. So it was good to hear kids sharing the gospel.
My something good is we had our jump for Williams syndrome on Saturday, and it was successful, and all the kids had a good time. So it's all good.
So my youngest is graduating from Lawrence District 65, and Sunday started all the festivities that my church, First Baptist, had the recognition service, and they had a great dinner. So it's the festivities have started, and my son, who is working hard to understand how to use his phone and all that stuff. So it's, yeah. Anybody got a job? Please holler. The boy needs a job.
My something good is the nice weather we're having. Those comfort levels are much better than the ones in here.
Yeah. All right, thank you all. And so now we'll just move through our agenda. Ms. Branham, did we notify the media?
We did.
Thank you. And I do declare that we have a quorum with all board members present. And to move forward, we will need action to approve our agenda.
I make the motion we approve our agenda.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. And now we will start with our Pledge of Allegiance, and I will let Mr. Intrican introduce your student. Oh, all right. Well, then I will lead us in Pledge of Allegiance. Let's stand, that's fine. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You couldn't get any students to drive from Gray Court down here? And now, Miss Nance, if you would lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, God, we come this afternoon, God, giving you all praise and honor and glory. Thank you. And Father God, as we have this board meeting tonight, Lord God, we ask that your presence just dwell over this meeting, God, giving us all the knowledge and the wisdom that we need, and to help continue our district to excel in all that what they need to do, and blessing our staff and our superintendent and all of the staff that he has, God. Just bless this community and bless this district, God, and take care of our children and teachers. We just can't thank you enough, Lord God, and we say amen, amen, amen.
Thank you, Ms. Nance. Amen. Now we will need approval for our minutes for the April 28th work session and board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving our minutes for the April 28th work session and board meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. And now we will move to Mr. Intrican for our Gray Court Owen School Report.
You have it? Oh, okay. There we go. All right. I get the pleasure this evening about telling you some absolutely wonderful things that we've got going on at Gray Court so far this year. But I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that the responsibility for a lot of those fantastic things happening not only fall with our students, but these fine two ladies you see sitting behind me over here, Miss Molly Raines and Miss Samantha Bond, as well as 13 members of an outstanding instructional leadership team and our staff. They really and truly do deserve all the credit for all the fantastic things you're going to hear me say about our school this evening. And I look forward to sharing those with you. One thing, being new to the school and actually being new to this position, I want to make sure that we had a vision set forward that the three of us could share and make sure that our faculty bought into as well as our students. So what we needed to make sure we had happen was that we needed a vision to establish a culture of high quality instruction and achievement by creating an environment where students and staff feel safe and where academic, personal, and extracurricular excellence is expected and celebrated, which led us to our theme, which we're just going to continue to maintain, which is excellence as the standard. And I know here in District 55, we're building a 5-star culture of excellence, and our contribution to that at GCO is that excellence will be our standard going forward. So there are 3 ways that we were going to try to get there. And in our first goal, we were going to try to establish a new culture. And in this culture, we needed to cultivate positive relationships with our staff, students, and the community. We also needed to develop and test a variety of systems and procedures where stakeholders can feel value and offer input. And we also needed to build and develop communication systems where expectations are clear and concise. We needed to cultivate a sense of shared responsibility for the school's climate, which means everybody buys in and everybody participates, and then establish guidelines for student conduct to ensure that the classroom management and educator receives the support. And I think we have done that so far this year as well. And then, in going through with that culture, we got to conduct ongoing needs assessment to ensure that students and staff are able to grow successfully. So that first goal was part of getting to our vision. Secondly, and after we get the culture right, we're going to really focus on instruction. And that comes from attracting and retaining educators who have that same philosophy we have of building academic and character excellence in students. That's our main word, as well as it is Dr. Penland's. We need to establish a forward-thinking and positive ILT to assist educators in using data-driven instruction to foster achievement in core and other academic areas. And then we really went overboard on this one. We need to celebrate success and achievement. And then a holistic approach to educate the whole child, and then offer that high-quality PD developed by our ILT. And we were able to do pretty much everything on that bullet that you see. And then we'll get to that goal of excellence that we're all trying to achieve. So we're using all of our human resources to foster those high expectations, and not only academics, but in athletics and the arts. And then this is the big one. That second bullet is where you really determine if the culture pieces work. And that is that the students and staff hold each other accountable to those high standards. And if they're doing it on their own, then the job that Ms. Raines and Ms. Bond and I have is a whole lot easier because they are establishing it themselves. And then eventually, once we get the culture right and once we get instruction going, our elementary and middle school scores will reflect high achievement on these standardized assessments. And so that creates these desired outcomes, that it will be the shared vision of our entire stakeholder family and community to create and foster a campus where excellence in all areas are not only a goal, but it is our expectation and what we strive for in each and everything we do. And that's what our campus is going to be. It's going to be a place where all associated individuals feel value and are seen as contributors to the success of the school. So how are we going to go about getting that through that culture piece? Well, there's pretty much what we did first of all was we wanted to make sure that we celebrated student achievement. And as you can see, it might be hard for you to see from some of those slides that's up there, but I can just give you some examples up there. We would pretty much celebrate all of these things. Like when our 5th graders won the district multiplication challenge every month, we're not only honoring our honor roll students in the middle and the elementary, but we're also celebrating that and putting it out for everybody to see. On a pretty regular basis, we're highlighting some of the high quality work that we see teachers display around the building. and the excellence that they're displaying in multiple grade levels. And you can see a scene up there on the far right where our second grade had their own award ceremony that we made sure we're highlighting student achievement. We even started a National Math Club chapter in which we had our first group from that go and participate at Malden this year in that group. We also do Students of the Month. We had our archery club, had students that made it to the national championship as well as in the state championship. And just more examples of where you see us talking and celebrating student achievement. But also, we wanted to make sure we celebrated our outstanding educators as part of building our culture. So you can see opportunities where we celebrated, and this is, I want to make sure you guys understand this. If I were to talk to you about or show you every single thing we celebrated this year, it would be 113 slides. And you don't want to sit through all of those. But we're just going to highlight some of the good ones. Instances here also where you see where we celebrated math growth, which I'm excited to talk about later in our MAP program. You can see where we celebrated even our paraprofessionals, where we did a STEAM night. On the far right there, we would highlight certain educators in the building and make sure everybody and our stakeholders knew them. Like on the bottom left, we would have a particular thing we would do called cool things. If a cool thing was happening with a particular educator, we would highlight that and celebrate it. You can see our literacy teacher of the year, an example of where we celebrated our ILT. We have another thing we do called This is Next Level, where if a teacher presents something in a standards-based lesson and it really goes out of their way to make it something really fantastic, we highlight that and celebrate it as well. And we also started the Principal's Educator of the Month, which we've been doing. As you can see up there, our very first Principal Educator of the Month was Miss Bond, because she is absolutely fantastic. In fact, pretty much on a daily basis, we get something called a Bond Bomb, where she educates us, myself and Miss Raines, on all the things elementary that we're learning as the year goes by. Another thing we like to celebrate is excellence in general. So anytime we have something fantastic happen, that may fall into a different category. So you can see these particular 8 slides we have up there where we celebrated things going on in PE, where we had folks going to Camp Thunderbird, when we took students to the Governor's School for Science and Mathematics, some things happening with our 4-year-olds. We started Models Academy at Gray Court this year. This is for our young men, so that they would have guidance from folks at Piedmont Technical College and have some mentorship. You can also see down there in the bottom left where we just celebrated letting our teacher appreciation week, where they all dressed up in Hawaiian gear that was GCO themed. We had some positive behavior incentives. We celebrated pretty much everything that you see up there. Like I said, it'd be 113 slides if you saw it all. Okay? And we also just wanted to make GCO not only a place of high academic achievement and growth, but we wanted to have fun too, because that's part of making sure that the students have a place that they want to be and a place where our teachers want to work. So you can see examples up there, such as our basketball club, when we went to the International Festival, cheer camp, the very unique Miss GCO pageant that we had this year. That was very fun. We had Reedy come down and read to some of our students. We even let Miss Ellis take hers out one day. The Hive, which is a 6th grade middle school event. You can see we ran some folks through the Christmas parade. And we also had days where we let teachers dress like a student. That was pretty unique. Now, some of our teachers are pretty young, so they blended in very well. And then we had our Men in Black Day, where everybody could dress like one of the Men in Black characters. So culture, as you'll see later maybe in the slide, is starting to make an upward turn for us. Now, a lot of this stuff up here is very verbose. I can just kind of let you see it, but it moved into what we're trying to do in our goal 2, which was attaining excellence in our instruction and hopefully what will be achievement. So as you can see, we consider our elementary to be our K through 4, at least through this year, because a lot of our 5th graders do the same things as our middle school. But you can see we put some pretty high standards for ourselves as far as getting students into the approaches, meets, and exceeds range. Because we wanted to pull them out of what we would call the red into that orange and yellow and blue and green. So you can see the numbers we were trying to achieve there, both in math and reading for the elementary. And you can also pretty much see some high goals that we set for ourselves in the middle school. I won't read those to you, but as you can see, those numbers, they're pretty aggressive for us to go after. So how are we going to achieve that? What did we try to do in Goal 2 to improve our instruction? Well, first of all, by district directive, and it also ended up being something that was a fantastic idea, was doing those weekly ILT meetings where we had agendas focused on school-wide data and goals, and the administrative team led those. And then we had the weekly cluster meetings led by the master teachers with those agendas focused on the instructional needs based on grade level data, observation data, and student work. And then, this was, I think, pretty cool for us, we developed our own observation tools in which we were at GCO were looking for certain aspects of instruction. So we developed our own tools, we gathered our own data and made decisions on instruction and PD based on that. And you can see we did our post-conferences, our PD with master teachers and teacher specialists. And so here were some of the results of that, some of the things we started doing. The master teachers modeled for and facilitated with and assisted 4K through 8th grade teachers in the utilization of research-based instructional strategies, including all of these things that you see here. So all of these things, even if they were not new to some of the educators, we did some reinforcement with it and maybe some practice and given them opportunities to not only put it into practice, but do some student work bringbacks to the clusters to see if they were working. Also, you can see from this how we took, we're ensuring teachers are well versed in implementing SCTS 4.0 rubric practices. So we basically broke down the rubric throughout the year and went in to each classroom on a regular basis looking for the items from that rubric to make sure that it was there and whether it needed reinforcement or refinement. And then you can see on that second bullet over there some of the examples of the instructional strategies that we brought to our teachers to make things go a little bit better. And then the excitement came. Because our big deal that we talked about, especially at GCO this year when we met with the faculty, is you cannot have achievement until you have growth. The growth has to come first before we can focus on the achievement. And at least through MAP, and I've seen some preliminary SC Ready stuff, which is good for us, but particularly in MAP, we grew, and we grew very well. And it's a lot for our teachers and students to be proud of. I've just highlighted a few things here in MAP reading. That top one that you see was our entire school in MAP reading was in the 58th percentile in growth. And then I highlighted a few grade levels there for us. Our second grade was in the 71st percentile in growth. Our third grade was in the 64th. Our 8th grade was in the 64th. And our first grade was in the 60th. The big deal I want you to look at, folks, is how much we are doing better in those green and blue in reading at GCO. That is a monumental accomplishment for our teachers, and we're so very proud of what they did. And then we're moving on to math. In math and MAP, we were in the 48th percentile for growth. I'm going to highlight a couple of grade levels for you too there. In our second grade, who just seemed to show off all year long, they were in the 75th percentile in growth. Our kindergartners in the 66th, our 7th graders in 52nd, and our first graders 43rd. So a lot of growth is happening. Like I said, you cannot have achievement until you have growth, and we definitely saw that. And so you can see some of our MAP results here. For the most part, not in all cases, but for the most part, you are looking at MAP reading here. You can see huge jumps from fall to spring, which means our instructional strategies with those folks seem to be working and paying off. And then the same in MAP. As any administrator is going to come in here and tell you, we want to see a lot more growth and a lot more improvement and a lot more achievement in math, but this is going to be something I think we're all focusing on as a district as we go into next year. But also, we had growth in those areas. So that led us to excellence. On our Upbeat survey, there are 21 categories that our teachers had to respond to. And what I wanted you to see here was that in 13 of those 21 categories, we were at 90% or higher. And then there were just some that we can't control, like we can't control salary and things like that. But for the most part, it looks as though that our faculty and staff seem to be moving forward as far as buying into what we're doing and having a good outcome as far as that culture piece is concerned. And I wouldn't be remiss without thanking all the people who helped us at our Teacher Appreciation Week. They pretty much donated everything we had. Didn't really have to spend a lot of money on Teacher Appreciation Week because these folks took care of us, which shows the cooperation that we're getting with our stakeholders. And some of them were even from the Fountain Inn area, so that was helpful. So I want to thank you guys for giving myself and these two ladies and Ms. Smallwood, who's our Teacher of the Year for next year, the opportunity to work with our students at Gray Court. And we really appreciate it, and we look forward, hopefully next year, to even talking about more growth, but even a better outcome on achievement. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Enterton. Excuse me, and thank you to your team. Now we will turn it over to Dr. Penland for recognition of student success.
All right. So thank you. Let's see. All right. So it is now my opportunity to recognize Miss Ramia Boyce. She's an 11th grader at Lawrence High School, and she was the developer and the, let me see if I can get, yep. So here's the logo that she designed and created for our reading camp this summer. And so it was selected. She is part of our, I think it was Digital Art 3 whenever she did this one, and at the high school. And so we just want to recognize and thank her for her hard work on developing our reading camp logo. Ms. Ramia Boyce, if you'll come on up. Dex will recognize years of service. We had a error in our recognition a couple of years ago. So Ms. Shirley Clark and Ms. Patia Patterson did not get their 20 years worth of service, but they are now at 22 and 21. So we apologize for skipping that over last time, and Ms. Shirley is not going to be able to make it to our recognition banquet next week. So Ms. Shirley Clark, and I don't see Ms. Patia Patterson, but yeah, you can take it. Yep. So congratulations. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your service and everything that you do for our kids here in Lawrence 55. All right, a couple of district updates that I want to kind of share through. We'll start with some.
Hang on one second. I just want to, Ms. Clark, I just want to thank you because Ms. Clark drove Kennedy around this district to countless locations as she was doing various things when she was in high school, and was always so kind. And Kennedy, if you ever want to know how Ms. Clark drives, though, talk to Kennedy, because she's got some stories. All very safe, but she's got some funny stories. So, but thank you. So, sorry.
No, you're great. Thank you. So our district updates, I did want to just kind of highlight some of our athletic achievements and some of the ones that I had mentioned last time, but we did have our tennis team that won region, and they actually made it 3 rounds into the playoffs, but then lost out. We also was awarded for Lynn Todd, the Region 1 4A Boys Tennis Coach of the Year. So we will be posting that either today or in the next day or so on social media. So congratulations.
It's on there today.
Is it on there today? Okay, yep. So, and then I did want to share about our track team. We had 6 students that made it to the state championship for track. Jaden Williams came in 5th in state in triple jump. Z Simpson came in 5th in the 400 meter and 12th in the 110 hurdles. Sanaya Simpson came in 9th for the 100 hurdles. Chrissy Carter came in 10th in triple jump. Marley Benson 10th for pole vault, and Audrey Dixon 12th for the 100 meter. So we had some very good showings at the state meet for our athletes in track and field, and so very proud of them and everything that they were able to accomplish this year through that. So very much appreciate Juwan and everything he does for our track and field. We did have our baseball and softball that made it through the playoffs. They have both lost out now, so but they had a very good year and was able to make it into the playoffs several rounds for each one of them. Did want to share the highlight of Toe Patterson. He was selected as the South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association and the South Carolina High School League selected coaches to participate in an excellence in coaching project, and he was deemed as one of the top 25 emerging leaders in high school and middle school athletics. So very proud of him, and he's part of the Tomorrow's 25. So congratulations to Toe Patterson. I want to thank Faye Colley for everything she did for spearheading our Teacher Appreciation Week and worked with all these sponsors. Andy just mentioned several that they had at Graycourt, but these were the ones that helped sponsor the district appreciations. So again, thank you to all those, and Jersey Mike's was instrumental at the beginning of the year to help us raise the money that helped us to actually push out a lot of the support and supplies or the food that we were able to feed our teachers during the Teacher Appreciation Week. Going on into calendar approval. So this was brought to our attention last month, and we approved the 25-26 calendar without the early release days, bringing that back for discussion here. One thing that I did want to share with our calendar survey, I did pull the most current data on that. We did push out the survey through them. Again, we're right at 500 responses, 495 responses. We had 80% of the responders said yes, they were in favor of or they were fine with the early release days. Of those, we had about 50% of the 500, which would be around 250 parents. A third of that response was teachers. And then we had some others or other community members that were in the response. So out of all of these people that responded, of the 500, they were still showing about 80%. And the way that broke up with teachers was around 78%. Parents were around 82%. Whenever we look at that. So I would like to bring back for discussion and or vote for early release days to be added to the 25-26 calendar of September 3rd, November 4th, January 27th, and also March 3rd. We have selected Tuesdays, and after discussion we decided to stay with Tuesdays. It is a time for us to be able to allow our students to get out 2.5 hours early during that time. Since it is on a Tuesday, that would be paired with our hour that we typically keep our teachers after school for teacher staff meetings. So that would actually be able to capture 3.5 hours for us to be able to have some meaningful professional development. We wanted it to be kind of earlier in the week versus a Friday, just because we would be avoiding burnout. We wouldn't want people just leaving early to go on vacation or go to the weekend, or just want us to forgive it and say, I know you've worked hard this week, just go ahead and go. But just trying to really find that time that we can capture some time, and also kind of build in some some travel time, with the option for us to have it on Tuesdays, and with it being a 3.5 hour block of time. If we wanted to get all of our first grade teachers together, that would allow us to be able to kind of regroup and shift our people around, because most of the time our schools only have 3, sometimes 2, sometimes 4 teachers per grade level, but that way they can meet together, have very focused professional development, grade level based. So I'm bringing this back to the board for reconsideration to include this into the 25-26 calendar for approval for us to be able to support and provide meaningful professional development for our teachers. In your packet, you also have a draft that we'll send out to our parents and guardians explaining the professional development that is and why we selected Tuesdays, if you have any questions or additions that we need to put on there too. We have also put in the memo that we will also try to adhere to hardship issues. So if we need to utilize some of our assistants to be able to provide after-school care for those that cannot pick up on time, that we would be able to send something out and get people to register or sign up for that if they had some hardship cases that we needed to address.
All right, so Dr. Penland has brought the calendar back to us regarding early release days. And do we have any questions, discussion? I know that some of the things that he's addressed they address the issues or the concerns that some of the board had the last time. And so I think that, especially with the memo that they're sending out, kind of provides explanation for all those items.
And we're adding the fact that we're trying to, for those that are in a tight spot, we're giving them some other options to help
Yes, sir.
alleviate that pressure. I think that's a good move.
All
Right.
Thank you.
If
But
there's, oh, go ahead, sorry.
It's September 9th, not the 3rd, right?
I'm sorry. Yep.
Is it on the calendar?
Is it the
But
9th?
It's on
or
the
third?
calendar.
It's on the calendar,
I know.
correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's correct.
September the 9th.
Yeah, that was my birthday. That's when we put it.
Okay. Yep. So it is September 9th on the actual calendar is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, if we could get a motion regarding the 25-26 school calendar and with the addition of the early release days.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we accept the calendar as Dr. Penland has laid out, including the release dates.
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor of approving the 25-26 school calendar with early release days as laid out, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The calendar passes.
Thank you. Last month, we also tabled the 26th, 27th to kind of bring this back. So I am bringing back the 26, 27 school year. This one was developed in collaboration with Lawrence School District 56. We have a combined kind of representative of each school that's there in both districts. And we have had that information to come back and forth between schools to develop this calendar. We also have worked with the surveys, and in this calendar you will also see the inclusion of the early release dates. And I'll make sure I've got these correct: September 15th, November 17th, February 9th, and April 13th. So those are correct in the calendar.
Yes.
So that would be, so this would be for first-time approval for this calendar for the 26-27 school year moving forward.
Any questions, discussion? Okay. If there's no discussion, if we could get a motion for the 26-27 school calendar for approval.
I make a motion to approve the 26-27 school calendar.
And
I'll
early
second.
release.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the 26-27 school calendar as presented, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The calendar is approved.
Thank you. All right, so a year ago, we received our Office of Inspector General report findings. What you have in your packet is a kind of a document that looks very similar to this. I also emailed it out to you on Friday for review, and hopefully the links are working for you. But just kind of wanted to share the information and the way that it's formatted. You will see the findings and recommendations that are listed there that came from the OIG, and then under each red section, the district actions and or responses have been listed there with each how we have addressed each one of those. As we have, and I had actually written something, so let me go back over here to my notes. So we organized the document with the recommendations. Of the 16 areas that are in the findings, 13 of them we feel like have been fully addressed. 2 of them are pending responses from one from the state report and one from USDA guidance. We also have 2 board policies that we need to look at to be created or adopted. We do not have a policy that addresses dual employees, nor do we have a policy that provides guidance on spending approval levels. The South Carolina School Boards Association does not have a model for either one of these, but they were able to provide a model that other districts across the state may be using or that are using. I have provided the information that we had to submit to Cognia is also listed on page 10. Whenever this review came out, that triggered an accreditation review with Cognia. You also see our responses to them. Have included with that also our federal program review information, and that's the piece that we're waiting back from the state. And they were actually supposed to review that and get that back to us the week of the 12th, and we're still waiting on that. Also, I have included the information on our risk audit. We had been identified as a moderate risk due to this report, and I'm pleased to say, and Jim reported on this last month, that our reporting has moved from moderate risk to low risk. And so that was something that was very promising, and also very happy for us to get back to a low risk audit rating. And so you'll see throughout these 10 pages all the different links and all the different highlights. If there's additional information whenever you're clicking through or have questions on any of the actual links, please let me know as we kind of go through. Do you currently have any questions if you had time to look at any of that?
Will this be posted on the website once it's complete?
I can, because I can make sure there's nothing in here that would be privy information, so we can make sure that we
Okay.
can post that also with our OIG.
Okay. Any questions on that tonight? Okay.
All right,
Do you have anything else?
that's all. And now we'll
Okay.
turn it over to Miss Wendy Burgess for our summer school report.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Lawrence County 55 board members. Thank you
Good
for
evening.
letting me talk with you this evening.
Good evening.
We are quickly approaching the 180th day of school. Hip, hip, hooray. So we are looking forward to all the summer activities and our graduates on graduation day. In the meantime, we want to make sure that learning continues in Lawrence School District 55. So we do have a couple summer learning opportunities that I just wanted to share with you. We do have a kind of a summer planning team, if you will, that is the Teaching and Learning Office along with the Director for Federal and Accountability, which is Amanda's team. So we work together on mapping out what our summer learning opportunities will be. But of course, the main goal is about student engagement. We want to get them here, and we want to keep their progress growing. Because as you know, with our LEARNS grant, our students and our teachers have come so far this year, and we really want to maintain that level of student engagement and progress. So the 3 things that we mainly want to look at for the summer programs is we want to be preventive. We want to make sure that there's no learning loss to happen for those students who are our most struggling learners. We want to have enrichment opportunities, offering new experiences and skills, something a little bit fun, grow those dendrites over the summer, not just sitting and watching TV. And then also, of course, acceleration, helping students to catch up on anything that they may be behind on academically. So with the academic focus, we're thinking about English language arts, which is your reading and writing, math, science, and social studies. Of course, we are full steam ahead. A lot of our lessons will be STEAM-based. And then the enrichment activities, as I just mentioned, we'll have STEAM workshop, arts opportunities, sports, field trips, and the like. The dates will be June the 3rd will be a teacher work day, so that'll give the teachers an opportunity to plan. Of course, if you come back here in our department, we have lots of STEM materials everywhere. Dr. Pendlin came and visited, and he said, "Oh my goodness, what a mess." Well, here we are. We got lots of paper rolls and Reynolds wrap and all kinds of things getting ready. So we're trying to pull as much together, the lesson plans and the books and things for the teachers as possible to make it very easy for them to jump right into those summer programs. They will have June the 3rd as a day together, and then we will start the courses on June the 4th. We'll have 2 weeks that are 3-day weeks and then 2 weeks that are 5-day weeks. We have some of our programs are full day. That's our CERDEP 4K and our summer reading camp 3rd grade, which that is a legislated summer camp. And then our half-day programs will be our 21st century, our summer reading camp extension opportunity, and our PE courses. Our host sites will be Lawrence Elementary School, Gray Court Owens, Sanders Middle School, and the high school. And so our programs that we are offering this summer will be our CERDEP pre-K. That will be for incoming 4K kids and outgoing 4K kids. We plan to serve about 60 students. We'll have 1 classroom at Gray Court Owens and 2 at Lawrence Elementary School. The Read to Succeed 3rd grade summer reading camp, I am pleased to announce that we have actually gone down. We served about 150 kids in 3rd grade summer reading camp. This year, that number is down to somewhere between 60 and 70, which is to speak highly of what our teachers and students are doing. That's huge. Also, we will have our extension camp. We just received that notification, that memo of approval, so we'll be serving some 1st grade and 2nd grade students with that program, along with some kindergartners. There'll be approximately 50 from each grade level there. They will also have the opportunity. That's where we involve the community. That's the YMCA, so that's the SPLASH program. And then going over to the Y to extend the day to about 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the afternoon. The 21st Century Grant, that's the grant that falls in Amanda's office. That is our current 5K, 4th grade and 5th grade. Middle school, this is an opportunity for those middle school students to work on some of those gap places, especially with geometry being the new 9th grade math standard. And then, of course, the high school students, it gives them an opportunity to recover some credits. Also, we'll have the summer PE, which will allow about 50 of our 8th grade students who are going into the 9th grade to go ahead and get that course check done before the school year starts, because who wants to change sweaty clothes during the school day, right? And then, of course, last but certainly not least, which is my absolute heart of, which is 4K. This week we had our summer reading buddies, so I just have to celebrate that the Lions Club came in, those sweet ladies came, and I'm telling you, they stuffed some reading buddies. And so we got our reading buddies ready, we got the packets ready, so we will bring in our incoming 4K students in the month of June, and we'll just have a fun celebration, talking to the families about the importance of reading. The kids will get to pick a reading buddy, they'll get a book, and then we'll give them the book challenge of reading at home every night over the summer to help them be ready for big school. So there you go. Any questions about summer learning for Lawrence 55?
I would also like to add, the YMCA is a huge partner that we work with, and so I want to thank them for everything. But I want to also explain a little bit about the SPLASH program. It's not just them go and swim a little bit, but it is actually teaching them how to get out of the water if they ever fall in. So it is a water safety program that we have written into the program so that all of those elementary kids will have the opportunity to learn water safety throughout the summer. So.
And that's when we know that their success in the classroom is when there are partnerships with folks in the community. So
Yep.
Huge thanks to the Y.
Thank you, Wendy.
Any other questions? Great.
Thank you, Ms. Burgess. Now we have Ms. Renee Madden for our Human Resources report.
Alrighty, let me get all of my pages written. No, I'm kidding, it's not that long. Okay, Madam Board Chair, board members, everyone else that's here tonight. My name is Renee Madden, and I'm the Director of HR here in Lawrence County School District 55. And I'm here tonight to share a little bit of information with you about some things that we are doing in the HR department. Let's see. Okay, And in our department, we have Tracy McNor, who's the administrative assistant. We have Alicia Scott, who's the projects coordinator, and Rebecca Nobles, who is the benefits administrator. And I need to say this publicly. These ladies do an excellent job. There's no way any one person could get all of this done. Tracy is doing her best to make sure to reach out, whether it's phone calls, whether it's inputting data into the system. Alicia's doing her best to try to help our non-certified teachers get out of all those different colors and get in their programs. She does an excellent job working with them. And of course, we have Becky Nobles, who deals with our benefits, our FMLA, our PPL. Sometimes she deals with teachers and employees that are in difficult times, and she does an excellent job with that. And I just want to make sure that they know and that you guys know that I really do appreciate what they do. Okay. Now today I'm going to share some information from our spring survey report where we had a focus on retention. And we're doing our best to retain all of the employees that we are able to retain. And we do this with using some Upbeat data. And Mr. E alluded to his Upbeat data in his presentation, so thank you so much. And that lets me know that he is using the information. He owns that. That's wonderful. But as I talk about Upbeat, let me give you a little bit of information about what that actually is. It is an educational company that is staffed by former educators, former administrators, but the focus of their work basically deals on retention. And we're able to get information by using anonymous survey tools, and we also have some customized coaching that assists the principals. Now, the anonymous survey tool is very, very important. It's not that teachers won't tell you the good and the bad of what's going on, but sometimes they feel very uncomfortable sharing that information just because of human nature. I don't think any of our principals, or right now our master teachers, assistant principals, they would never hold anything against them, but teachers tend to feel a little more comfortable sharing that information in an anonymous manner. So that has been very important. And as I said before, the coaching assists our principals with meeting some of the problems that they may be facing through the survey. The coaching will also help principals to meet some of their goals on their evaluation instrument, which is the PADEPT instrument. And of course, everything is based on actual data. All right, research shows that when positive perceptions of belonging, well-being, when those things increase, teacher retention increases. And research also shows that engaged teachers, we talked about engaged students with Ms. Burgess, and that does make a difference, but teachers that are engaged, that can help improve school culture, stability, and contribute to one of our #1 goals here, student achievement. So that's why we're working with this data. The #1 goal is to get student achievement. Now let's take a look at some of our teacher turnover rates. And as you see, the higher the graph, unfortunately, that's not good for us. You can't see, but I'm gonna start on the right-hand side because that's 1920, that was about 14% teacher turnover. 2021, we had 12% teacher turnover. 21-22, we had 18% teacher turnover. And that's when we started working with Upbeat. Gathering the initial data and trying to come up with our questions, trying to get a focus. The year we implemented Upbeat, 22-23, we had 22% teacher turnover. And 23-24, as you can see, we've had a 10% decrease. Now, I cannot say all of this is because of everything that happened with Upbeat. Obviously, it is not because of that. But the data that we get with Upbeat certainly does help us keep a pulse on how our teachers are feeling. Now, we had some other incentives that we used here at the district level for our teachers, but Upbeat has helped us to target some areas of improvement And it's also given us the data to show why we're targeting those areas. So for 24-25, our two areas dealing with retention, we were trying to retain 90% of staff, maintain that 90% of staff, which means 10% teacher turnover rate. And we would like for the principals to use this data to reach the goal. Now, as I said before, the Upbeat survey does come along with coaching. And as Mr. E alluded to, there are about 21 categories that our teachers will go through. And there is a coach that will meet with the principal to really disaggregate the data for them, to show them where they are as far as climate, as far as environment, as far as teacher appreciation. But they meet with those coaches to come up with action plans to help everything be better. All right, participation rate for this last administration was about 82%. We had about 351 teachers complete the survey. We have about 504 teachers, so that's about 82%. And we did discover some very, very good things. Some of our areas of strength, and I'm just pulling out a few, we had a 92% positive response dealing with instructional leadership. There was a specific question number 14 that was pulled out, and it says 97% of teachers agreed that principals at their school use data to monitor students' progress. We had a 92% positive response on inclusive practices. 97% of teachers agreed on question 58 that the teachers at their school strive to help all students feel like they belong, and that's what we want. And that's up actually 3%. And I should have said this. This data is data that's compared from the fall in 2024 to the spring of 2025. And we had a 94% positive response rate dealing with care and commitment. Teachers agreed that the teachers at their school care about the well-being of students, and that is up 2%. Now just give you a little bit of idea of some of the questions that may be on here. One of the areas of strength dealt with this particular question. I can see myself teaching at my school for at least the next year. In the fall of 2024, we had 89% teachers say yes, they responded positively. And in the spring, after some things that we have been through here in the district, that held steady at 89%. Now we do have some areas of opportunity, of course. Appreciation is one area of opportunity. In one of our questions, 77% of teachers agreed that administrators at their school let them know when they're doing great work. Now, that is 77% of teachers, and we would like for that to be at least 80 to 85% or higher. And actually, that's a drop of 7%. Recruitment, hiring, and onboarding. We had a 77% positive. We were down by 1%. Teachers would like to have a greater influence on the hiring of professional staff. With regard to professional development, we had 78% positive responses that the professional development organized by the district helps them to improve their teaching. So, just a quick example of what is a data plan or an action step. At the high school, one of the areas noted was appreciation. And I think that Dr. Penland also noticed that could have been an area of improvement because this information is also shared with him. And Ms. Colley has certainly helped to improve in this particular area. But a targeted area for opportunity was appreciation at LDHS. The strategy was to use a variety of ways to highlight our teachers. Well, in the appreciation question, all of this is once again compared from 2024, the fall, until now. We had a 77% response, and that is up 9 points. And one of the actual questions was, teachers are recognized publicly when they do outstanding work. We had a 77% or 76% response, and that's actually up 10%. So that is definitely moving in the right direction. For Gray Court Owings, Work-life balance was a targeted area for opportunity because we have changed some things that seem to really be working with some of the instructional techniques and some of the ways we're doing things with our teachers. So one of the key strategies was to realize the connection between the work being done within cluster and work-life balance. And apparently, you have taken that into consideration because work-life balance, 81%, that's up 8 points. And I feel confident that I can maintain my daily workload for the long term is at 84% now, and that's up 11 points. All right, at the end of the day, the reason all of us are here, the reason any of us even have a job is for the kids. So we need to make sure that we keep that high teacher engagement, which will lead to higher teacher retention, which should lead to higher student achievement. And that completes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Madden.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to board operations and our finance and operations with Mr. Lawless on our monthly financial report and our budget information for 25-26.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
You should have received a copy of the financial report for April of 2025. Our balance with the Treasurer's Office at the end of April was $13,429,983. Our fiscal year-to-date general fund revenues for the first 10 months were $51,202,456, and expenditures for that period of $46,609,988, for a difference of $4,592,468. And tax collections for the month of April were $2,937,704. Does anyone have any questions on the monthly financial report? Okay. The board met this afternoon for a budget workshop to discuss the general fund budget for the year ending June 30th, 2026. In its current form, the budget is not balanced with a general fund expenditures of $62,219,000, exceeding revenues of $61,321,000, creating a deficit of $898,000. The administration is still working to close that gap by looking at staff levels and scrutinizing expenditures, looking for areas where reductions can be made. And the goal is to be able to present a balanced budget for the second reading next month. The administration is requesting that the board consider a 4.9 mil increase for 25-26. If approved, this will be the first property tax millage increase since the 2013-2014 fiscal year. As this reading is the first reading of the general fund budget, there is no action to be taken at this time, and the final budget will be brought before the board in the June meeting. Does anyone have any questions?
I just want to make I understand that, because we're not saying that, because we have seen the county increase property taxes. We're talking about a property tax here that's going to increase a mill village that increases the property tax.
No, this board can this board can pass a millage increase.
Right.
A mill is one factor in the calculation of the
Right.
property tax. There has been no millage increase
Right.
since 2013-14.
That's what I want to make sure everyone understands. That we're not that we're not saying there hadn't been an increase, because there has been a significant increase
Well,
in property taxes across the county.
Well, there's assessments that
Yes.
create some growth. This would be an actual additional
Right.
mill that the same millage, that the same assessment ratio would be attached
Right.
to.
Yeah, I just want to make clear that.
Yes.
And just to further clarify, this would not, any millage increase would not impact someone's primary residence that they own
This is just for commercial business?
and rental properties.
Rental properties.
But it would also impact cars and boats, things of that nature, but not the larger aspect of the home.
Any taxable property that is not covered under a homestead exemption or Act 388, which removed owner-occupied residences from school operations tax.
Great, thank you for that clarity.
Thank you. Now we move on to public participation. Ms. Branham, I don't believe we had anyone sign up. Is that accurate? Okay. And now we do have a executive session on our agenda tonight. Let me get my glasses on here. Our executive session is to cover certified employee contracts for the 25-26 school year, retirement employee list for the 25-26 school year. The superintendent's evaluation instrument is to be decided upon, a response to the board inquiry regarding pending litigation, and then also legal updates. And we do need a motion to move into executive
I
session.
make a motion, we enter executive session.
I'll second.
Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are now going to executive session.